So I saw this really interesting tweet on X today, and I wanted to talk about it because it involves Dave Filoni and the Acolyte, and I have some thoughts. By the way, guys, I have my new store up. I got some cool mugs. This one's probably my favorite. So the tweet here is, Filoni is a fraud, and this is a clipping from Comic Horizon, it looks like. I can't really tell on the graphic. Like Comics Horizon. Star Wars The Acolyte writer confirms Dave Filoni approved all scripts for the show, including Ki-Adi-Mundi. Which, if you guys know, there's been a big thing about, would Dave Filoni do this? How it's breaking lore, which I do tend to agree that it breaks lore, because there's a whole moment in The Phantom Menace when he's like,
impossible. The Sith have been extinct for a millennium.
so how does this line up? And, you know, you get some people saying on the X and other places on YouTube and stuff saying, well, they're just acolytes, right? They're not Sith. They're just like, kind of like the people at the end of The Rise of Skywalker, where they're all around Palpatine. They're like devotees to the dark side, but they're not actually Sith. And I would say, yeah, that could kind of make sense. But like, you have a guy that is incredibly powerful with the Force, uses a red lightsaber, is hunting down Jedi. I mean, you just add up all these things, and it sounds like it's a Sith. Like, that sounds like a Sith to me. So what really drew my attention to this tweet, and no hate to the person that tweeted it or anything like that, that's their opinion, right? It's really hard for me to believe Filoni, the guy that wrote The Mandalorian, which I know, you know, there's mixed opinions on season 2 and 3, who did The Mandalorian, who did Ahsoka, would make this type of canon flaw that, oh, hey, by the way, this guy wasn't even born yet. Or, hey, didn't he, in front of Qui-Gon and the whole council, say, oh, by the way, there's no Sith. We haven't seen them in 1,000 years, right? Well, you know, the people that say he's not a Sith, this is what I find interesting, because I saw this today as well. And it's from the Direct, and it says, Chris Teague talks difficult Sith introduction. So is this person a Sith? I'm getting confused here. I mean, it even says it in the article that it's a new Sith Lord. So is this Palpatine? It's got to be like Palpatine, right? Like, because this is the height of the Jedi Order. You have super strong Jedis running around everywhere. I don't know, but it just kind of like, I was like, okay, so you are introducing a Sith Lord. This TV show is just all over the place, and I don't understand it. And so going back, like, it's really hard for me to think that Filoni, that's as big a fan of Star Wars, would make this big of an error. And maybe he did. Maybe he's okay with that, and they're going to retcon stuff, because, I mean, they have retcon stuff in the past. I don't know. I just hope they don't make it out to like Star Wars Theory skit, where it's basically like, oh, Anakin's not really important. You know, there's other kids that were made by witches, by the Force, or whatever it may be. But, man, it's just another thing with Star Wars that I'm just like, come on, can you please just get the continuity down? Like, what is going on with this show? But I'm really curious for some of you guys that are watching what you think. Do you think Filoni's to blame for this? Or is this just what I said in the previous video, where they're basically just going to be shifting blame because of how bad the Acolyte is doing on reviews? I'm really curious to hear what you guys say. I don't know. It's hard for me to say that he's a fraud, but things aren't adding up.
Make sure to like and subscribe, or we will execute Order 66. Check out our other videos on the screen as well.
Yes, my lord.